And then I learned this word adjustment. And it was Shashi that spoke it. I don't know, I phoned him about something, but it was something to do with teaching. And I guess the same approach was coming through in that. Wanting everything to be right, wanting everything to run well, wanting all good students. Most students were good, but not all students were good. Whatever. Wanting to be a good teacher. All of this was at play. And I rang him about some question to do with something. And he said, whatever you need to do, make an adjustment. If something is not working, make an adjustment. And I was like, oh. And suddenly I felt a freedom. I felt a freedom to make an adjustment on something. And the adjustment might be, the initial adjustment was changing from teaching on a Wednesday to teaching on a Thursday. Yeah, it was as ordinary as that. And I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be the right thing. What if people can't come on a Thursday and they can come on a Wednesday, and now I'm changing the whole thing. And I was getting lost in that, trying to work it out. So the freedom to make an adjustment and then see what happened gave me just total freedom. Because as soon as I made that adjustment, and then that was allowed to sort of play out, I could then find out what I was dealing with. And if I needed to make another adjustment, I had freedom to do that also. So as that began to sink in, into my inner world of everything that was going on, that also began to kind of break through that perfectionism. And I was really attached to this. I was really attached to being quite a perfectionist and doing the best and all of that. Yeah? But it was more perfectionist than best. And that was limiting. The freedom to make the adjustment meant that I was allowing that anything could happen. And that included it could all fall apart or it could all fail. And something in me had to trust that, okay, well look, if that happens, what do? You'll make an adjustment. You'll try something else and then see how that runs. So somewhere in my brain really liked the word adjustment above the word change. Change, I can feel my whole body kind of resist it a little bit. I can rail against it. Adjustment is kind of bearable, you know. Adjustment is like what you do with salt and pepper when you're cooking. It's a little thing, yeah? We can sort of live with it. But it was also, by the same thing, the same action actually helped me trust myself. And helped me to find out what I could handle. Because what my perfectionism, what that strategy was trying to do, was trying to work everything out so that it wouldn't fail. So that I wouldn't make a mistake, so that I wouldn't look like a fool. So once I got over that, and once it kind of didn't really matter if I made a mess of this, then I had freedom. It was okay if something didn't quite work out, because that failure no longer looked like the failure it did when I was looking at it from perfection. Suddenly I got, you know, when you're watching these little Facebook videos of how to be successful and all this sort of thing, how to deal with failure, suddenly this started making sense. It was recognizing that failure is not the be-all and end-all of everything, and neither is success. The journey is a mixture of both. Some things will succeed, some things will be great on one day and not so great on another day. And we're free to adjust either way. Can we find that part of us that is maybe a little bit perfectionist or controlling? It's like that's our default. When we don't quite know what to do, we will try and control something. We will try and kind of prevent it from changing. We'll try and keep it the same way, just because that feels familiar. When you remind yourself, or when you remember, oh yeah, I said I was going to, whatever, the typical ones. I was going to lose weight, I was going to get fit, I was going to stop smoking, I was going to do this, I was going to travel to wherever. And then we're kind of thinking about it and we feel shit because we didn't really get those even off the ground.